Hey, thanks for watching today. This video we're going to cover some tax investing news from recent couple weeks, and we're going to do things a little bit differently. I keep trying to make this video a little different and interesting. This time it's not by choice. We're going to be looking at some of the auctions for the first time that I'm seeing them on video. So some of these are very new, just released in the last day or two, and I have the totals, and we're going to take a deep dive into some of those auctions. There's some exciting over-the-counter news, some big releases in several states, and of course we're going to cover auction seasons. And at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about something new and something coming to the site very soon. So we'll save that for the end, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers yet. So let's talk about tax investing news for October. So we'll begin with market totals. This is, we're just checking since our last video came out on September 24th. We've added 18,972 properties to Parcel Fair. This means you can research these properties right now. And the breakdown on this is that 16,041 of those are tax liens. 2,006 of those properties hold a tax deed that you can go buy. 920 of those properties are in foreclosure sales. And 5 of those are in land bank purchasing programs that you can buy. And if we want to break it down by state, let's take a look. There were 1,043 OTC properties added. You can see the bulk of those were in Arkansas, followed by Colorado and Mississippi, and just a few stray properties here and there in the other states. But this is important to remember, properties get added even in dormant inventories year-round. You can find, like, even Arizona, we're way out of season for new OTCs, and they even had a new property in the last couple weeks. So if we're looking at tax auctions, you can see the bulk of the properties were in Colorado, followed by New Jersey. That's 15,000 between those two states, and then Florida, New Mexico, and so forth. A lot of properties added in some of those markets that are in auction season right now. And then lastly, the foreclosures. We had 920 foreclosure properties added. These are going to be in foreclosure auctions in these 3 states, Florida, Colorado, Indiana. Florida had the bulk of them this month. And that's a good overview of the totals for the last couple weeks. So let's jump in with our first state. Colorado. We've been talking about it for a long time, and the fall auction lists are finally here. We have, I think, a dozen counties roughly loaded right now. These are some of the new auctions I've not even looked at yet. But we have some totals on the top 5 so far. So you can see some of these auctions are large. There's a lot of tax liens in these counties when you're looking at over 1,000 or a couple thousand in each. And there's more than this. This is just the top 5. But these lists are releasing daily. The auction dates are getting announced. It seems like every day there's 1 or 2 new ones that we're finding out about, and we're adding them as soon as they release. So I recommend keeping track on the site, and Parcel Fair can help you track your auction calendar that way. I'll show you that in a second too. There are over-the-counter properties, liens available, and there are foreclosure auctions in Colorado too. But since we're in tax season, let's go talk about their tax auctions. And again, this is the first time I'm seeing a lot of this, so forgive any mistakes we catch along the way. Right now we're looking at 20 auctions on the calendar, followed by 26 in November. Some of these are foreclosures, so we're going to add a way to split those out pretty soon. But for now, you can see there's some foreclosure auctions, and then in the mix you're going to see these larger tax lien auctions. I think last week we showed you El Paso. So why don't let's just take a look at Weld. I've not looked at this yet, so hopefully it works out. Okay, great. So 1,555 properties in Weld County. So it looks like this is where Fort Collins is located. And I'm going to turn on my county borders now so I can see where I'm looking. And let's switch over for high contrast. We're going to look at this map view. You can do that in the top left on Google Maps here. Go between satellite and map view. I like to use both. So this is an odd-shaped county. It's on the Wyoming border. Fort Collins is the largest city I see here. And it's funny, it's a huge state, but Denver's not far away. I would imagine that's a close real estate market we could compare to if you were doing that type of research. So as with a lot of these western states, you'll see some very large chunks of land like these, 662 acres and 668 acres. These are massive. Then another one here at 674 acres. Just because it's a beautiful part of the country, let's take a look at, oh wow. When we go to satellite, we can see definitely agricultural looking land. Those are really cool looking patterns. So large chunks of land there. We can look at, it looks like the wilderness out here where there's not a lot of greenery, but we can see on the Wyoming border there's some large 327 acres and 335 acres on the border there. I don't know what you would do there. That's interesting. Probably don't have power and water and nice internet service. I don't know. So let's look closer in the city. That gives you an idea. There's rural areas. There's large chunks of land. A lot of it agricultural. But if we take a look, where did Fort Collins go? Oh, okay. Fort Collins is here, so we're actually in the county next door to it. That the gray border eluded me a moment ago. So let's take a look at some areas that look more residential. Garden City looks like one area we can zoom in and take a look. So we'll switch back over here. You can see these yellow blocks on the map. Those are the properties that are going to auction. They're smaller here because we're looking in a city. But back to satellite, we can see some rooftops here. So we have some houses going on here. Another one here. And you can just kind of see what's going on there in the city. So yeah, I apologize. I don't know this area that well. Let's see if I can find a county that I know a little better. Well, let's check out Denver. Don't think their auction is available yet. Yeah, they don't have a tax lien auction yet, so we'll try Garfield. So we have 201 properties coming up in the Garfield auction. It's a smaller one. Beautiful area in the mountains here. This terrain is just gorgeous if you look at it. So yeah, you can take a look at a property like this, and let's just go view the full details on it. So the Google car did not drive out to give us a street view, but we can still see the valuation breakdown. We can see that there are 2 tax liens available. That means, yeah, they're there. So a 2022 and a 2023. Both are available in this upcoming auction on realauction.com, which is, or just, it's not realauction.com. You actually would click one of these links and go to the Garfield, Colorado tax sale and go that way. So looks like they are have a disclaimer there for you. But that's how you register for the sale, is click that. We can also look at the treasurer report, and this is going to show us more information about the property directly from the county source. And the assessor report is here as well. We link straight to these properties so you can get a close-up look. You know, the Google car may not have gone to this house, but it looks like the assessor did. So we do have a photo of the house here. So yeah, quick links that take you directly to those sources here on the research link side. And let's jump back to the map again. Let's check one more county out. I'm probably going to make a Colorado video pretty soon, so I'm not going to spend too much more time. Let's check out Park. I think I'm familiar with this one a little bit from my research. So let's go over and see. This is a county that is situated, we'll see, we're looking just south of Breckenridge, and it's also south west of Denver. And if you know Colorado, these may look like they're nearby, but the mountains there are really interesting. I think the Continental Divide runs through here somewhere between Denver and Breckenridge. So the actual drive is actually a lot further than it looks when you factor in mountains and elevation and all that. So this area, let's go back to satellite. We can get an idea. I think we're going to be looking at some ski slope areas here. Let's zoom in around here. So this is a mountainous area. A lot of these could be interesting lots. You can see they're ready to be built on because the roads and all are there, but it would be interesting. I'm going to use the Google Street View guy. If you drag it, we have to drag it onto a road that has coverage. Let's see where the nearest road with coverage is. There it is. Let's see if we can check out the terrain from here. It looks like it might be at a mountaintop. Yeah, it's just a gorgeous area. So there are mountains all around you. I think we're actually on a mountain in this view. And let's see. Yeah, some of these are very interesting. Snow-capped mountain acreage that I don't even know how you would get to that. That's 11 acres. Several choices there on the snow caps there. So yeah, you can really get stuck checking these out for a long time. It's just so much to look at. But this is kind of a more of a ski area. Some of the mountains you can see. I've never heard of the city Fairplay, but it has some houses there as well we could take a look at. So the valuations here don't look too bad. Not too terribly expensive. So let's check out, let's just pick this one and take a closer look. All right, so this neighborhood, it says it's condos, so I don't know if that's just the neighborhood they listed it at, but Colorado says it's condos. This one is going to be online at Zeus Auction, a different location, and you can click these links to register for that sale or see the original list at SRI Services. So yeah, different auction company for this county, and we help you go through that process. If you click on the purchase option here, that's always your best way to get your next steps on purchasing the property. I get that question a lot, is how do I buy? We try to keep that very simple for you. The purchase options are always the first place to look because that gives you all the ways that we know to buy. In this case, it's going to be that tax lien sale. Okay, so that's Colorado. If you wanted to take a look at, maybe you're a foreclosures person, you could do this and filter to foreclosures. And now, so in Park County, we're looking at just 5 properties that are in foreclosure. Much smaller list. We can look at them on the right side and get an idea what they look like. And then click Find on Map and take a closer look at a property like this. So those are going to be in foreclosure auctions. And if you check out the purchase options on those, it's going to be totally different. Park County foreclosure sales, it's pending auction. This one doesn't have a date assigned yet, so we just know that it's coming up for auction, and you can link to the actual tax sales here on GovEase. So yet another auction house in play here. But if you click these links to GovEase, it'll show you how to bid on that property. And lastly, let's just give a quick nod to the fact that there are over-the-counter properties in Colorado. I don't think Park has any, but let's just we'll check out. Let's do the whole state over the counter. There we go. So 1,310 over the counter liens. We're on the edge of Denver here, so let's just show you those. I mean, at this time of year, we're as far removed from an auction season as you get, so you can see lots of ditches, lots of small properties that may not have much appeal. They're showing up and highlighted in green here, so nothing you can build on. You really, on these OTC lists like this that are, I guess you'd say, weathered over the season and picked over, there's not a ton in there to look at. So what I like to do is view those results in a grid and then sort by total value using this column right here. And now you can see the best of the highest values at the top of my list now and click on those properties. So that's a quick way to zip through those lists and find if there are any gems where they are. So that's a quick dive into Colorado. Again, we'll probably have a video later this week that gives you a lot more, our next video. So stay tuned for more on Colorado, and we'll move to our next state. So New Jersey, we are definitely in the fall auction season. We just did a video on this because if you see where we stand, September there were 10 tax lien auctions. In October, we have 85 that we're tracking, and then November, we already have 3 more. So, yeah, this is what I would call the fall season, and there's seems to be every week more auctions added. Even since we made the video, there's been more auctions added. Yeah, check that latest video out. It's a real deep dive into New Jersey. It goes through the auctions. I'll show you briefly what the auction calendar looks like for New Jersey here, but if you want to go into detail New Jersey, that video, it's only about 6-7 days old, so I think you should check it out. Yeah, so here's October. You see the 85, and then November you have 3 auctions coming up. But out of those 85 auctions, some of these not so small. Let's take a look. Yeah, some of these are tiny, 5 parcels. But there's a few that have, like Lakewood is 331. Remember, these are municipalities, not counties. So, or townships. They can be very small auctions, but one county might have a lot of townships hosting auctions, and so sometimes it can help to look at the whole county, or sometimes you might want to see just one auction. But I think in my other video I showed you Camden, so let's take a look at a different one. I don't even know how to pronounce this auction, but it's in Camden also, so it's the same county. So a lot of properties is very densely populated on the map here. I guess you'd say 4,400 in this particular auction, and we'll narrow it down to one of the smaller auctions here. This is a smaller municipality with only 76 parcels. So let's just take a look at that. You can see some nice looking houses that are being advertised for tax liens here. And this one is Magnolia. It has this tax lien auction. It's Camden County, but Magnolia would be the municipality. It looks like Magnolia Borough. And the auction details, of course, are on the purchase option. So you can click on that and see all the details you need to register and see the sale. And you can go to the assessor's report here on the right if you want to see more about this property. So that gives you an overview of what's going on in New Jersey right now. Again, watch our other video if you want to see a real deep dive into how the auctions work, how to research. But that gives you an idea of what's going on right now. So moving on, Indiana, and I sound like a broken record, we have another video from 2 weeks ago that is a deep dive with step-by-step research into the Indiana fall auctions, also known as the treasurer sales. But those are in full swing. Out of about 80 counties, I think we have 43 in October. And yeah, 43 tax auctions in October for this wave of sales. And remember, we have foreclosure auctions. 30 of those are in October for Indiana, and 7 are scheduled so far for November. Let's check out Indiana's auction calendar. So this is you select the state. And in states like this, you want to switch between, let's look at just foreclosures only. Because if I'm in a foreclosure mindset, I don't want to see tax sales in the mix. But I can see the 30 foreclosure sales coming up. They're very small. 7 properties is the biggest one so far. 9 in a couple of these. 17 in Madison. So these are very small foreclosure sales. Actually, I clicked the wrong thing. I want to view just... So you can view all properties in the county, which I just did, and it gave me the auction too. I want to see just the properties from this auction, which is 17 properties. So that second option is what I was looking for. Now I'm looking at a much smaller list. The foreclosure properties are on the right side here. And I can click Find on Map, and it goes straight to that property, so I can get a closer look here. So yeah, this is how you would explore like a small foreclosure auction. And if you want to know more about the tax lien auctions, I recommend our other video, much more in depth, but I'll show you quickly. If you want to switch over and see just those, you would change the filter on our auction calendar there. And now you're looking at the 43 tax lien auctions that are coming up in October. And we'll view one of these. Just let's check out Wayne County, and we'll just view all the properties in Wayne County. Oh, looks like map data is messed up in Wayne County right now. So let's check out Howard County. Okay, yeah, this has everybody on the map. Howard County. So this is new to me. I don't know this city, but it's I can quickly take us through. Switch over to map view and get some nice contrast so we can take a look at these properties. If I want to see rooftops, I'm going to go back to satellite view, and let's just check out the first rooftop I see. And so we have found a property with it looks kind of overgrown. The Google Street View is not much help there. It's probably the Google cars on a different angle here. So I'll show you how to get around that here. You could click panorama view and drive around the block, but what I like to do is let's go back to the map. And do you see the little yellow Google, I don't know what he's called. It says his name is Pegman. Okay, so let's drag Pegman onto the map. And you can see behind the property is that grown overview. I don't want that. I want to see the front of the property. So I'm going to move Pegman to the front of the property here. And then we're going to look to our right, and that's the property from the side that we can actually see. So Google sometimes makes you work a little bit on these. We let the panorama view that you saw here, it shows this street view and the panorama view based on the GPS coordinates of the property, but we had a better angle on the other side of the street. So that's when you would use the map, let's just call him Pegman, and drag him onto the map. So let me zoom in a little more. Whoops, not like that. So yeah, so this is the property. What I did was I drug the Pegman. He was behind here where there's too many trees to see, and I moved him to the front of the property here. And that way we could look and see the property better. And it keeps wanting to go back into Street View. Okay. So that was something new to show you, but ultimately you're going to want to check out our recent video on Indiana tax auctions if you want to get a real deep dive into that and understand how these work. So next up, New Mexico. This has been one of the most interesting seasons because we keep thinking the season is over, and then they string us along with a few more auctions and a few more auctions. And I do see a problem already. Taos County has the wrong date. So let's go to New Mexico, and let's get you the real date here. So it's actually October 26th I think it's Taos. I don't know how to say that. But this is a little small auction. It's the latest one on the calendar, and let's just view all the properties in that auction. And again, I'm going to turn on my county borders. And for this, I can kind of see the yellow outlines there. I don't think I need to switch the map view. But yeah, I don't know what to say about these properties. They're very small lots that are parceled out here, and they look like buildable areas, but the Google car did not drive there. That's a bad sign. So I don't know. There could be a story about why this started development and parceled these out, but there's not a lot of houses here. This looks like the only one for quite a while. So there could be an opportunity there if you know the New Mexico area and look closer. Otherwise, there's properties here that kind of scattered about. I'm going to go look closer to this town because I'm looking for properties like this where I know that development has happened, and I can even see something like a structure here. And let's try one more thing out. I'm going to show you how to filter. Let's clear our filters here, and I want to take a look at just properties with improvements right here. That takes it down to 10 properties, so we have a much smaller pool of things to look at if we're interested in that. But now we're looking at buildings like this, or properties like this with buildings on them. This is valued at $1.49 million. It's 24 acres. And of course, I don't know if the Google car drives in New Mexico. It never seems to have a picture in New Mexico. But 24 acres, 1.4 million, it's occupied, and the auction details are here. We can take a look at the date, the location, the time. And if we want to see more about that auction, this is the website that the state runs. It's the taxation and revenue for New Mexico. And you can see those are the 5 remaining counties. It looks a lot like the 5 remaining counties we have here. There's a reason for that. So we did do a deeper video into New Mexico last month. You are welcome to check that out. I don't know if more auctions are coming here. They seem to trickle in, so we'll see if something else shows up. We will certainly cover it and keep it on the website, but we're watching that daily and looking for new auctions for our researchers to grab and dig into for you. All right, so Tennessee. We always have a little bit of something to report in Tennessee. So we have tax deed auctions with 12% interest. It's penalty-based, so you get the 12% if the person redeems 11 months in or 2 months in, it doesn't matter. You get the 12%. It is a 1-year redemption. And there are some upcoming auctions to point out. We're looking at 4 in October, Rutherford, Weekly, Davidson, and Shelby. You can see 2 on Govies, 1 in person if they don't cancel Davidson this time. And then Shelby is on Civic Source. And as far as over-the-counters, the Shelby Land Bank is the only real over-the-counter source that we have in Tennessee. So let's check out Tennessee's auction calendar right here. And so you can see throughout the year there's a handful of auctions every month. And then October we have those 4 that we're tracking. And let's, I guess today we'll take a look at Weekly. It's 23 properties. And we'll open those up on the map here. So yeah, 23 properties. I'm already looking at a few here in Dresden. Tennessee's another gorgeous state, in my opinion. There's well, that's not gorgeous. It looks like a trash pile, but it's beautiful greenery in the mountains here. It's just a very lush, beautiful state. And so let's check this property out. 1.6 acres. The Google car did drive here, so we can actually see the house that's on the side here. The valuation's 10.5. Actually, you know what? Looking closer at the satellite view, that house is in the middle. Let me back up. It looks like there's maybe a barn on the property, but the house is actually excluded from the way this parcel is drawn out. So we're looking at mostly land. Let's check this one out instead, down the street a little bit. This one actually does have multiple structures on it. It's still a very low valuation at $27,000. It's occupied. This button, the purchase option button, shows us where to buy it. This would be GovEase. We can register here, view the tax sale here, and the list here. So all the things you need to research this property and find out how to buy it. And at the bottom on the right side, research links, we're going to have a link to the Tennessee State Comptroller of the Treasury, which gives us a bigger, expanded view of like the sale information for this property, just those really deep information you get from the county sources. We can see the 4 buildings are spelled out here with descriptions and dimensions, square footage. So that's just if you want to dig in deeper and know what is involved with this property. The research links in Parcel Fair right here are invaluable. You're going to use those a lot if you're digging deep into these properties. Besides that, that's that small auction. And I'll remind you, if you want to see the auction results off map, we can click on this and view the results in a grid. I don't tell you this a lot, but you can also export to CSV. That's just a fancy way of saying spreadsheet. It works in Excel or whatever your spreadsheet tool of choice is. But here are we're looking at, let's sort this auction this way. So the highest valuation is this $123,000 property. If we want to see a closer look at that, that's a nice looking property for a tax deed auction, definitely. I would imagine the bidding on this one will go pretty high. But yeah, that's how I would find the more valuable properties in the auction. I show that a lot, but to be honest, it's not always the best way to go, because if you're looking at the most valuable property in the auction, there's a chance that it's not a lot of people are bidding on it, but the odds are those have the highest bidding. So you might want to look a little deeper in the list at some of the mid-range or lower properties that are still appealing to you. Remember, you have Parcel Fair. You can examine an auction top to bottom. So don't limit yourself to just the top 2 properties. You can really place your bids a lot deeper than that. And the tools like GovEase that host the auction like this, they really help you budget for your bidding and spread your money out, and actually stop your bidding when you're out of money. So you can spread your money, hedge your bets, and really go a lot deeper than just the top couple properties. And I recommend you do that when you have those tools at your disposal. So that covers Tennessee. We won't go over the land bank this week because it seems like every time we talk about the land bank, but there is a Shelby land bank with over-the-counter properties. Next up, we're going to look at Maryland. So Maryland has the last auction of 2023 coming up. We've been expecting this for weeks. It's Baltimore County, not Baltimore City. So don't get those confused. In a second, I'll show you where Baltimore County is, and it is not Baltimore City, which is a different county. We've been chasing this one. The date was moved back. The announcement was hidden. It was just all kinds of reasons where this auction was hiding from us. But it did finally get released, and we'll show you in a second what it looks like. And don't forget, there's still in Baltimore City, not Baltimore County this time, Baltimore City has the most OTCs. There are some small other over-the-counter pockets in the state, but Baltimore City has thousands of them. There's the over-the-counter liens from this year, there's the over-the-counter liens from last year, and then there's the Buy Into Baltimore program that's like a land bank. We have a lot of other videos covering that. I'm not going to go too much in depth to the OTCs today, but let's check out our new shiny Baltimore County auction. So look, Baltimore and Baltimore City are different counties. So Baltimore, let's clear our filters. Yeah, there's only 330 properties. I think this was a few hundred properties less than last year. Let's change and view our county borders and switch to this view for contrast. Okay, now this small county in the middle, right on the water, that is Baltimore City County. And then this county that almost surrounds it is this large county, goes all the way to the state border of Pennsylvania. It is way over here in the water. But this county, the one with the yellow properties visible on the map, that's Baltimore County, not Baltimore City. And this is the one that has an upcoming tax auction. So immediately what jumps to my attention, I'm looking at this large 107 acres. Doesn't seem so large after we were looking at Colorado a minute ago, but 100 acres by my standard is a large property, I guess, anywhere. Let's switch over to satellite view and get a closer look. It looks like timber property, possibly. I mean, I guess you have to really look and see if you're allowed to even cut the trees there or not. A trench going through the middle. I don't know if that's could be a seasonal type of thing with the leaves falling. It might be thicker in the summertime, but it looks like a creek to me. But yeah, it's a large chunk of property right there near some other development. I think that would look pretty appealing to me. And the valuation on that's $326,000 for 100 acres. Let's look at the report. So the Google car did not drive to this property. It seems like a theme today. I keep picking properties where the Google car did not go. Let's check out the purchase option here. So the Baltimore County auction is hosted online, and if we follow these links, it's actually, this is one of my least favorite websites because this is where you find the information about the auction, but this is not even the right page. They put the property listing here, but most of the information is over here on Legal Authority, a different page. And from there, I don't see it right now, but they will put web addresses like this in the mix and not hyperlink it for you to click it. So you have to find these. They don't stand out. They're not underlined. They're not a different color. You have to find these things and copy them out and then open a new browser tab. Go to it that way. And that will take you, well, you know what? That's a broken link, and it's not even a real link. So yeah, this is a frustrating site to deal with. But the point is, we went and found all the important links for you and put them in these 3 buttons here. The registration is on one page, the tax information is on another, and the auction list is on yet another page. The auction list will download an Excel file, so let's go look at the register page. So it's broken links again. I meant to go to this page. This is where you would have to go find, this website kills me. But that's as much help as we can give you. You're going to have to go maybe call this phone number if you have questions, but at this point, this is where you would go to follow the Legal Authority link maybe, and it will tell you all about the auction dates and times. But yeah, we get you enough to get started, but you're going to have to register yourself. So let's check out another property in this auction, not the 100 acres with no street view. Let's go to something that looks like it's more maybe residential. This property stands out to me. Definitely not residential, but we're going to check it out anyways. It's a $2.2 million property on a tax lien. This brick commercial looking building. The tax lien available, only $1,500. So if you wanted to buy that, you would click on this, and we already covered how to do that. And then if we wanted more information, remember the research link's on the right, just below the satellite image. I can check out the property card here, and that takes me to Maryland, the state's records, where I can dig into this property more if I want to read more about the property. So that gives you an idea of how to look through that auction. And while we're here, so let's go back to this. I'm going to show you, let's just look at all the counties, everything, clear the filters for the whole state. And you're going to see a large concentration of properties in Baltimore City, which is that county on the interior there. you can see the contrast. We have the yellow properties that are auction are out here inside of Baltimore County. And then if you cross that boundary into Baltimore City County, we have green and blue properties. Those are all over the counter. The green ones are going to be liens that are from either 2022 or 2023. And the blue ones are going to be properties that are available from that Buy Into Baltimore program, which is like a land bank. So those are open year round. There's a lot of shopping you can still do inside of Baltimore City. But meanwhile, Baltimore County is the only one that has an active auction that we are tracking right now. Okay, so enough confusion about Baltimore. Let's move on and take a look at Arkansas. So the season is over. So why are we talking about it? Because there are new over-the-counters already arriving. Those are available year-round through the Commissioner of State Lands. These are like miniature auctions. They run every day. I'm going to just show you and stop talking about it. So we're not going to look at the auction calendar. We're actually going to go to our tools and click on the inventory history, because I want to see in Arkansas, select Arkansas, what's been added. And we can see 686 properties were added in October. Let's go back in time and click on this green bar on the calendar here. 665 were added in September. So you can see every month we have some properties being added to that over-the-counter inventory, 123 in August. But October, we're only 1 week in and already have 686. So that's a good month to look at those over-the-counter properties that were left over. One thing, this table below is showing us the properties. I'm going to sort by total value like we did a moment ago and pull some of these up to the top. One of the biggest gripes about Arkansas is actually, it's also its strength. The auctions are so popular because you get immediate, you get the property immediately. There's no redemption on these. They are tax deeds that you're buying at auction in person. But most of the good properties, that, as far as value, are picked up at auction, so people complain that there are not any leftovers worth chasing. I beg to differ, because I've sorted by total value, and I can see properties at $79,000, at $48,000. These do have structures on them. So these are secondhand leftovers that are still valuable properties. So my first step in checking out that property is I'm going to click the link and view this in Parcel Fair. So right now I'm looking at a vacant property address, okay? And earlier today I clicked on this, so it's showing that I submitted an application. That just means I clicked through their application process. But what I can tell you about this property, $80,000 valuation. In this area of Jonesboro, Arkansas, that's a good valuation for any property, really. I can see it's in an opportunity zone based on this. That tells me this is an area of focused development. The federal government and the local county have cooperated to define that area, and this property is in an opportunity zone, so that's good to know. But what I want to show you today is, now that this property is available, I can see the Apply Online Arkansas Commissioner of State Lands purchase option, okay? If you want to buy properties on Parcel Fair, always go to the purchase options. Click on it, and before you wonder what the instructions are, you want to click that button, because we've taken the time to spell out the instructions for you, literally step by step, what to do. Now, if you remember a moment ago, I said these are miniature auctions that run all day long, every day. That means when we click on this button, we are going to the property, and the auction is not started, but the first person to place a bid on that property will initiate the auction. So I can literally right here, starting bid of $6,940.05, place the first bid. That will start the auction, which will run for 30 days. It's an online auction, so beware. Anybody that's watching this video that wants to bid on this property is going to come bid on the property. So I apologize for anybody that wanted to buy this property. You're going to have some competition. But people placing bids on this property, it will eventually, when it's like any other auction, when the auction ends in 30 days, the highest bidder wins. So whatever your bidding strategy is, if you like to wait till the last minute, or if you want to be aggressive and bid it up early, I don't have a preference there for you. You're gonna have to figure that out yourself. But this is where you would do that. It's a wonderful website. And now that we are past the in-person auction season, this is the real way to buy in Arkansas right now. So here's what I want you to remember. If you want to see new properties being added over the counter in those little leftover auctions, you go to Tools and Inventory History in Parcel Fair and look at the properties recently added. Pick your month here. Right now we're looking at October because those are the most recent. We can even filter by county if we want to say we just care about Craighead County. Okay, so there were only 2 properties, so I've filtered it down quickly. Second of all, once you find the properties you want to bid on, you're going to click on it like we did, and ultimately research the property, because once you place that bid, you are on the hook. Okay, so you've already done some research on Parcel Fair. You've seen the satellite view, you've seen the street view, but before you go tie up money in a property, especially in Arkansas where you're going to be holding the property with no redemption and all that for decent money, make sure this property is actually as advertised. You can see the county map shows a rooftop, Parcel Fair shows a rooftop, but literally right now the house could have had a tree fall on it last night, and we can't get you up-to-date imagery on this. So if you're tying up money on these, and if you're comfortable having a house that's burned down or has a tree on it, so be it. But I would always recommend have your local scout or whatever you use for photos, maybe just drive there yourself, and just make sure the property looks like something you want to own. So that's that applies to a lot of places, but we'll just say that for Arkansas because a house of this value that cleared auction, people that were there in person might know why this cleared auction. It may be burned to the ground. So it's just very unfortunate, but make sure this property is standing before you go buy it. Next up, let's talk about Mississippi. So those auctions did end. Not a lot to talk about here. 140,000 liens went to auction. That means the ones that didn't sell are, they don't go to over-the-counter the way you might think. We don't just go typically in Mississippi and buy over-the-counter liens. What happens is they sit on with the county and state for a couple years, and then they foreclose on the property and add them to their tax forfeited lands database, that's in my opinion, the best way to buy in Mississippi. You're looking at, again, that Mississippi tax forfeited lands, and you can buy year-round directly from the state, and we just added 957 of these in September. A few have shown up in October so far, but let's go back to our inventory history report in Mississippi. Let's just look at the whole state. So only 5 new properties in October, but let's back up a month and check out September. I clicked on the green bar right there. Now we see September, and we're going to sort this table by total value. We're looking at some nice value properties, 300,000, 100,000. You can really filter down to the ones with value that way. Most are in Hinds County, it looks like. So that's a good way for you to buy that way. Let's click the first one, and it's a commercial building. It's occupied. It's in an opportunity zone, and if we want to apply online, we're going to click this button. I will say this is an opportunity for you, is that the application, the steps to apply in Mississippi are weird. It's not rocket science. It's just a lot to remember, and we've laid out the steps for you right here, but ultimately, the first time you use it, you have to register a user account with Mississippi. You have to log in and understand their instructions. They're a bit cryptic. It's a multi-step process. But you also have to look up this property because there's no way for us to link to the property. You have to select county, enter the parcel number, then you have to save the property, and then go to your saved properties, and then you can begin the application process. So remember, that shouldn't scare you away. You should see that as an opportunity because it scares away other people. And if you're willing to put in the time and get used to this application process, you will have a lot less competition than if it was a very simple process that anybody could easily follow. So Mississippi's worth your attention. I would take a look at it, learn those application steps, and invest there by buying the over-the-counter tax forfeited lands. There will be another tax lien auction season in the spring, but until then, this is the way to buy. So let's talk about Florida. We are definitely in the over-the-counter season, and I've been giving a rolling total, so I'll just keep going each month since the season ended in June. You can see the number of tax liens added to over-the-counter. It went 19,000, 11,000, and then dropped drastically in August down to 300 and 600 in September. That's just the influx of new over-the-counter liens that were added to the over-the-counter inventories. And we only have one added in October so far. But you can see the purchasing on the right-hand side, these numbers, 3,800 sold, 7,200, 2,200. Those properties leave the inventory just as quickly as they show up. So you have a quick dump of properties in June, July, and then over the months, you're selling thousands out of that inventory are disappearing. In Florida, you should remember it's one of the best places off-season or really just year-round to buy because you have... when we're out of the season right now, you still have over-the-counter liens. You have over-the-counter deeds. You have 73 tax deed auctions scheduled in October. And you have 332 foreclosure auctions scheduled for October. So it's a strong purchasing season. We'll skip over the counter. Well, actually, no. Let's just take a look briefly. Florida's over-the-counter history. This is where I get those numbers. You see so many added each month. October, we have one property added so far, and it's this one property in Highlands. That's it. But let's switch over to the auction calendar and talk about those other opportunities. So we'll switch over to Florida, and we're tracking it. I think it's maybe a couple thousand auctions this year, so it takes a second for it to all load up. Maybe more than 2,000. I don't know. It looks like 3,000. But you would want to filter the calendar by what you're interested in: foreclosures, tax deeds, tax liens. Let's go for tax deeds today. This will be a smaller number, more manageable to look at. So now that the tax deed auctions are on the screen, you can see those 73 in October, 33 more in November, 17 in December. So this is how you buy tax deeds at auction in Florida. We check out the very small auctions, but let's go to Putnam County and view just the properties from this auction because we want to not see the over-the-counters. We want to see just the tax deed auctions. We'll pick the first one I see, and this looks like developable, buildable land in Florida to me. And the tax deed, we would buy it by going our purchase options to the Putnam County tax deed auction on October 11th. It's located at Real Tax Deed Online, and the taxes due are $36.80. Probably the starting bid would be around that, and we'll go up from there. And any of these links will take you to, we'll just do the tax information. Everything you need to shop at this tax deed auction, the frequently asked questions, all that stuff. So that's how you would go from top to bottom, pick an auction, view the properties, and then go bid on them that way. So tax deed auctions, great opportunity in Florida to bid year-round. And don't limit yourself to the larger counties, too. I understand there's a lot of competition, but with a tool like Parcel Fair, you should be looking wider and deeper than other investors for some of the counties and properties that maybe get less attention, less competition. Let's move over to Alabama. Not a ton to talk about. The auction season ended in June. The OTC inventory is very strong here. 20,000 properties, give or take, right now. There's a variety of certificates, deeds, liens, and even land bank properties. And today, we've covered a lot of these options, but we'll do a brief touch on Alabama. And let's talk about resellers today. That's something we haven't talked about very much. I'm just going to go to all counties, clear my filters, and I'm going to say resellers only in the inventory box. And let's talk about why resellers could be interesting to you. First, I have to tell you that the over-the-counter opportunity here, unfortunately, it's kind of saturated the application process. There's a lot of people waiting in line for their price quotes. One of the most common questions I get from our users is, how long do I have to wait to get a response from the state? So here's Alabama, and what happens is you put in an application to the state to buy the property, and you have to wait your turn in line to get a price quote for you to buy it. The state works with the county to assemble a price quote, they have to figure out all the pieces of what's owed, the taxes, the interest, and any other fees that they try to include. I've noticed they put in sometimes fire dues or abatement penalties, things like that. They'll add that just to make sure they're getting all the costs and fees covered. It takes them a while to assemble a quote, but that's not the main reason that they're backed up. The main reason is every investor gets 10 days of an exclusive option to buy. So if I put in an application for a property, but I'm behind you and you put an application in the day before, you're going to get your application put together by the state, and when you get that price quote, they're emailed out on Thursdays to your inbox, so you have to watch your email if you're applying for these. You're going to have 10 days where there's no other price quotes being issued for that property. And so not only do I have to wait in line behind you for those 10 days that I can't buy until you're finished, but even when your 10 days are up, they have to put my quote together, and then I get my 10 days. Well, that's okay if it's just the two of us, but if 10 people have applied in front of me, I'm talking about 100 days, that's 10 people times 10 days, 100 days, where they will have exclusive rights to buy the property and do their due diligence, plus the time to prepare each quote, which could be, who knows how long that takes, a few days maybe. So all that long story to tell you is that's why it's a little bit slow to buy from that one purchase option in Alabama. So we've worked with several other companies and tried to find different ways to help you out and buy in the meantime. So if you're in a hurry to buy in Alabama, I recommend still applying with the state, just so you're in the queue. But in the meantime, you can buy from resellers, and these work a little bit differently in different cases. So let's just pick the first one that we come across here. Okay, this one has a lot of ways to buy. I love when we have multiple purchase options. But ultimately, somebody at USA Deed is holding a price quote on this property. I know they haven't bought it yet because it's still available in the Department of Revenue and these other inventories, which means somebody is considering buying this property right now. But in the meantime, they've listed it for $22,300, and you can click on this and go buy it directly from them. You could also apply to the land bank, which is a great way to get property. It's a longer application process as far as work for you to do, but it may end up faster than the Department of Revenue because of the reasons I just went through. So yeah, we have three ways to buy this. You could pay the premium and buy it immediately if time is most important to you. You could try from the land bank if you want to get like a chance to buy this property the cheapest and at a clear title. It's a good opportunity. It's a lot of steps to get it, but you end up with no redemption on this property because they clear the title for you. Or you could get in line with the Alabama Department of Revenue, which is a very simple process to apply, and wait your turn. So depending on what's important to you, time or money or getting the cheapest price, you have options here. And that's a nice vacant property. That's a good choice. So let's see. We cover this in other videos, but I'll briefly touch on. Let's see. You can also filter. Let's take a look at. Since we're in Jefferson County, I'm going to go to just Jefferson, Birmingham, and we're going to pick a specific one. Anderson Realty Group is another. Oops, I just reset my filters. Is another reseller. They have 164 right now. I just showed you how to filter by just them. You would do that right here. And let's pick our first one. So yeah. Well, that one is a strange one. Let's pick a different one. Okay, so this one's available from Anderson and the Land Bank and the Department of Revenue, all three. And if we click on Anderson, it takes us to their website, and you can order the property immediately here. They also have photos and videos if you want to. You can see the video right here, but you can also order photos and videos if you want to ask for more. And they've already posted a few for you. So we can get a quick look at this property, how it looks today, or closer than what Google gave us. And that's how you would buy from that Anderson reseller. And then there's one more reseller option. Again, we're trying to give you options so you don't have to wait. So Parcel Fair Direct Offer is the option right here. This simply means that somebody in Parcel Fair has the price quote and would consider, we can connect you and see if you guys are able to work out a deal. There's no guarantees here. It's just a way for outreach. This looks like the vacant lot between these houses, though, so not a great choice here. But you would fill out the direct offer by clicking this button, the big blue button, and we'll connect you with the person that may be selling the property. So that covers more of Alabama than we usually do. I'm going to move on. It is off season, so that's resellers. All right, we're going to pick up the pace here, talk about Arizona. Their auction season ended in March. Over-the-counters have been released. You purchase directly from the county, 16% interest, and there's 40,000 of those to choose from or more, depending on when you look. And I'm not going to take a ton of time here, but we will check out the inventory history report for Arizona. I want to see just what's been added recently. One property in October. We're only 7-8 days in, so let's click on that property. It doesn't have a ton of information. It looks like the county may have misreported the parcel number, but we can see the valuations, and Yavapai County is where we would buy it from. So let's back up to September, and there were 113 added. You could then sort by the total value to the top here. Not a lot of extremely valuable properties, but you can see Yuma County had a property added, and we could apply online by following these instructions, and that's how you buy over the counter off-season in Arizona. Moving on, North Carolina, we are still tracking. I say this every time. It's a bit of a sparse auction season for us. We're in preview mode. Very few counties so far, but we are willing to add more if you send us suggestions. Happy to track auctions and learn the state as you're learning it as well. Similar story in Oklahoma and Utah. Their auction seasons ended. There are a few over-the-counters, more to come, but I would love to hear from you about additional ones that you'd like to see. And as I mentioned, this is the end of the video, so I'm going to tell you that Colorado is our current heaviest auction season, and New Jersey as well. But in the coming weeks, we're going to be running a preview of the South Carolina tax auctions and pulling those into the website for you to look at. It's going to be our newest state. It'll make 15 states that we're tracking. And if you are investing already in South Carolina, please reach out. We'd love to hear your stories, how you're faring there. And we hope you're able to use our tool once we get some of the counties in there. And now that I've said it on video, we're committed. We have to do South Carolina next. So I hope you have a great week, and thanks for watching.